Have you ever been in one of those conversations where, you can just tell the other person isn't really there?
Oh, absolutely. They're nodding, making eye contact, but you can see the wheels turning on something completely different.
Exactly. Like they're planning their grocery list or, composing a passive-aggressive email in their head.
If we're being honest, we've all been that person too. We're just waiting for them to take a breath so we can jump in with our brilliant, perfectly formed comeback.
Yes. The second you hear a keyword like deadline, your brain just latches on and you start scripting your response and you completely miss the next crucial part of what they were saying.
That internal scriptwriter is probably the biggest roadblock to real communication. And that's really what we're digging into today. This skill that seems so simple listening, but is actually, well, it's a genuine superpower if you can master it.
I mean, we spend so much energy trying to be better speakers,
Right.
right? But the skill of just absorbing what someone else is saying, that's the foundation for everything, for work, for relationships, everything.
It really is. So our mission for this deep dive is to give you a really focused, practical guide. We want to distill the key insights from our sources on how to get there, what the roadblocks are, why it's worth it, and, most importantly, a toolkit you can start using, like today.
Okay, so we'll start with why it's so hard, then look at the rewards, break down the different levels of listening, and then, yeah, get into those actionable techniques.
Sounds good. So let's jump in. Why is this thing we do all day, every day, so incredibly difficult to do well?
Well, the first thing to realize is that it's not usually about laziness. It's more of a battle inside your own head.
Yeah.
There's just so much mental interference.
Right. Our brains process information so much faster than people speak. So while someone is talking, there's all this leftover bandwidth, and our mind fills it with, our to-do list, our own opinions, a memory.
That internal chatter, it's running at full volume.
Exactly. And that leads to what you mentioned earlier, that number one barrier, the urge to script. We're so busy formulating what we're going to say next that we're not actually receiving the message anymore.
We're just waiting for our turn on stage.
We are. We're prioritizing our transmission over their reception. And we miss the very information that would have made our response better in the first place.
I am so guilty of the story hijacker thing. Someone will say something, and my brain just screams, oh, my story about that is way better.
We all do it, but it's a real problem because it sidelines the other person. It basically tells them that their experience was just a launch pad for your own story.
And it makes them feel dismissed.
Completely. And then there's the other big barrier, the simple filter of judgment. We're not even preparing a story, we're just preparing a critique.
I don't agree with that. That's a terrible idea.
Right. And the second you do that, your focus shifts inward. You're not trying to understand their point anymore. You're just listening for flaws in their argument. You're listening to refute.
And when you zoom out, some of the sources suggest that culturally, we just reward the talkers more, the assertive ones. So we all feel like we have to fight to be heard.
And the fallout is just huge. Misunderstandings, broken projects, strained relationships. It all comes back to a fundamental failure to listen.
Okay, so that's the problem statement. It's not a pretty picture. Let's flip this. Why is becoming a better listener the superpower we're claiming it is?
Well, the most immediate reward is in your relationships. It's like emotional glue. When you give someone your full, undivided attention, you build trust almost instantly. You make them feel valued, safe, and seen.
Yeah, think about the difference between telling a friend something difficult and getting a quick, oh, that's rough, while they check their phone, versus them putting it down, turning to you, and just listening.
It's night and day. That's what builds the bond. But it's not just emotional. There are huge practical gains, too, especially with problem solving.
How so?
When you're truly listening, you're gathering so much more data. You pick up on the tone of voice, the hesitation, all the stuff between the lines.
So you're not just hearing the symptom, you're starting to understand the root cause of the issue.
Exactly, which leads to much, much smarter solutions. And what's really interesting is how it builds respect. People who are great listeners project this quiet confidence.
Because they don't have that need to fill every silence or prove they have the answer right away.
That's it. It shows you're mature enough to process before you react. And every conversation then becomes a chance to learn something, to see the world from an angle you hadn't considered.
Which is how we avoid getting stuck in our own echo chambers.
Right. And of course, there's empathy. Empathy isn't something you just decide to have. It's a direct result of deep listening.
It's how you step into their shoes. You're not just hearing the story. You're connecting with the feeling behind it.
You are. And here's the really counterintuitive part. Listening well actually makes you a better speaker.
Okay, explain that.
Well, once you truly understand what the other person needs, what they care about, what their concerns are, your response is going to be incredibly relevant and impactful. You're not guessing anymore. You're responding to the real issue.
Okay, so better relationships, smarter solutions, more respect, clearer communication. It's a pretty compelling case. So if we want to get there, we need to know what good actually looks like. Let's talk about the different levels of listening.
Yeah, you can think about it like moving up a ladder from barely being there to being fully connected.
So level one, this would be the basement, I guess.
That's passive listening. You're physically there, maybe you're nodding, but your mind is a million miles away. You're hearing sounds, but nothing is actually sinking in.
Okay, then level two.
That's selective listening. This is where you're only tuning in for the parts that interest you or that you agree with. You're filtering everything else out.
This is the latching onto a keyword problem we talked about. You hear budget, and you jump in with your point about finances, even though their real point was about, say, team morale.
Exactly. It causes a ton of crossed wires. So now we move up to level 3, which is really the goal for most of our day-to-day interactions, active listening.
This is where you're fully engaged. You're consciously paying attention to their words, their tone, their body language. The main goal is just understanding.
Right. So if your colleague is explaining a failed project, active listening means you can accurately say back, okay, so the materials were late, which delayed testing, and that caused the budget overrun. You have the facts straight.
Got it. But you said there's a level above that, the superpower level.
Yes. Level 4, empathetic listening. This takes everything from active listening and adds a crucial layer of emotional understanding.
So what's the difference? If I'm already hearing their words and their tone, what's left?
You're comprehending the data, but you're not yet connecting with the feeling. So with that same colleague, empathetic listening would be saying, wow, it sounds like after putting in all that effort, you're feeling really frustrated and maybe even a little worried about how this looks.
Ah, I see. So active listening is about accuracy. Empathetic listening is about validation. You're connecting with their feeling, not just their facts.
You got it. And to do that consistently, we need to build on a foundation of a few core principles.
Okay, principle number one. This one sounds simple, but is maybe the hardest.
Give your full attention.
It's a conscious decision, isn't it? You have to choose to be present.
It is. And in practice, that means phone face down on the table, laptop closed, actually turning your body towards the person you're speaking with. It sends a powerful signal.
Okay, so that's principle one. What's two?
Use your nonverbal cues. Your body has to back up your words. Comfortable eye contact, an open posture. So arms not crossed, maybe leaning in a little.
Principle three.
Use small verbal encouragers, little things like, I see, or okay. They're not interruptions, they're signals that say, I'm still with you, keep going.
Which leads right into the golden rule, principle four, do not interrupt.
Oh, this one is huge. The urge is so strong, but you have to let them finish their thought completely. Try what some call the Mississippi rule. After they stop talking, silently count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi in your head before you speak. You'd be amazed how often they use that 2-second pause to add the most important part of their whole message.
That's a great tip. Okay, and the final principle, number 5.
Resist judging or advising right away. Your first job is not to fix it, it's to understand it. You need to consciously take off the advice-giving hat and put on the understanding hat.
Most people want to be heard before they're helped.
Always.
Yeah.
So with that foundation in place, now we can talk about the specific tools, the listener's toolkit.
Okay, tool number 1.
Paraphrasing or summarizing. This is fundamental for active listening. You just briefly restate their main point in your own words.
So if a client says, we need to expand in this new region, but our Q3 budget is frozen, you say.
Okay, so just to be clear, the priority is expansion, but we need to find a way to do it without the Q3 marketing funds.
Right. It confirms you heard them and gives them a chance to correct you.
Exactly. Now, tool number 2 is for empathetic listening. Reflecting feelings. This is where you name the emotion you're sensing behind their words.
Look, wow, it sounds like you're feeling really disappointed by that outcome.
Precisely. It validates their emotional state. It's incredibly powerful. Tool 3 is asking clarifying questions. This is for getting the facts straight. When you say it was late, what day did it actually arrive?
And tool 4 is asking open-ended questions. Questions that can't be answered with a simple yes or no.
Right. Instead of, are you stressed, which is a yes-no, you ask, what are your biggest concerns about this presentation? It invites them to elaborate.
And the last tool, which I think is the most underrated one.
Using silence effectively, the power of the pause. Don't rush to fill every gap in the conversation.
That's it.
Let it sit. It gives
Yeah.
the other person space to think, to reflect, or maybe to share something a bit more vulnerable.
That's a fantastic toolkit. But what about those roadblocks we started with? Knowing these tools doesn't make my brain stop wandering mid-conversation.
That's where self-correction comes in. When you notice your mind wandering, you have to gently pull it back. A great way to do that is to quickly, mentally summarize their last sentence. It re-engages you instantly.
Okay, and what about that urge to script a reply? How do you fight that?
Try the one thing rule. Tell yourself your only job for the next 30 seconds is to understand one key thing they're saying. Just one. It forces you to focus on receiving instead of planning.
I like that. What about the fix-it mentality? The urge to jump in with solutions?
You have to ask. You just have to say something like, that sounds really tough. Are you looking for some ideas right now, or do you mostly just need to talk it through?
That one question is so powerful. It respects their autonomy.
It does. And in the hardest moments, when you're in a conflict and you feel defensive, you have to remember the mantra. Listen for understanding, not agreement.
You're just trying to see it from their side, even if you totally disagree.
Exactly. And that awareness allows you to tailor your whole approach, depending on the situation.
Right, because you wouldn't listen to your partner the same way you listen to your boss in a budget meeting.
Not at all. With personal relationships, you lean heavily into level 4, empathetic listening. It's about connection.
More reflecting feelings, less fixing problems.
Right. But in a professional setting, you shift more toward level 3, active listening. It's all about clarity and accuracy.
Paraphrasing instructions, asking clarifying questions about deadlines. Precision is key.
And in a really difficult conversation, like a conflict, listening becomes your main de-escalation tool. The key is to stay calm and reflect their frustration back to them first.
So if someone says, this entire project is a disaster.
You don't argue about the project, you reflect the feeling. I hear how frustrated you are. It sounds like you feel completely unsupported right now. That acknowledgement can totally change the energy of the conversation.
That's the versatility that makes this a real skill.
It connects everything.
This has been incredibly useful. To wrap things up, let's just do a quick, rapid-fire checklist of the essential techniques.
Okay, your pocket guide. 1, turn towards them. 2, put distractions away. 3, use good eye contact. 4, use verbal encouragers like,
5, let him finish completely. Use that Mississippi rule. 6, paraphrase the facts. 7, reflect the feelings. 8, ask open-ended questions.
9, use silence, don't fear the pause. 10, resist advising unless you're asked. And 11, manage your own emotions. Listen to understand, not to agree.
11 points. That's a great summary. So here's the challenge for you listening right now. This week, just pick one conversation and try to consciously use just 3 things from that list.
Maybe it's just putting your phone away, pausing for 2 seconds before you reply, and asking one open-ended question. That's it.
And afterward, take 30 seconds and just reflect. How did it feel? Did they react differently? What did you learn that you might have missed otherwise? That's how this moves from an idea to a habit.
Absolutely. It really does change everything.
Remember, really hearing someone is a gift you give to them. It's an act of validation. But it's also, strangely, a gift you give to yourself.
It enriches your own understanding of the world. So keep practicing. You might be amazed at what you start to hear.